Hi, this is a reflection on lesson 304 in A Course in Miracles, and it says, "Let not my world obscure the sight of Christ. Let not my world obscure the sight of Christ." And the part of this lesson that spoke to me, like the words I really connected with, was perception is a mirror, not a fact. Perception is a mirror, not a fact. And what I look upon is my state of mind reflected outward. And this just makes me never want to open my mouth again to say anything to anyone other than like giving them love and kindness. There's no, like, oh my God, can you imagine like going around stating your opinions and your preferences and what you like and don't like, and this is good and that is bad, and here's what I think about this and what I think about that. It's so revealing about your inner world, isn't it? It's so like, that's what I hear when I hear people talk. It's not about the content of what they're saying. All I hear is the conditioning that's coming from the inside, their inner world reflected outward. So that makes me not even want to open my mouth. And when I do, when I'm sort of like making small talk with people and we're talking about like if we share opinions on something, something will come out and I'm like, well, that was illuminating. And it's not even true. So it makes me not want to really open my mouth at all, because everything is, it's just not, it's just not real. It's just perception. It's my inner world reflected outward. And there's this baby. He's the sweetest Agador. So, perception is a mirror. So how I perceive the world is just a reflection on what's going on inside. I mean, that's kind of like this book's been saying that all along, and I've known that about myself for a long time now. And I try to work, like every time I even have a thought, I'm like, that's not even true. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. I had to pee real bad. And then I was like, oh yeah, I'm having a hot flash. It's like you have like everything immediately, whoosh, you have to pee, you're sweating, you're thirsty, all at once. I was like, okay, I gotta go. My system's whacking out. What it also reminds me of this lesson is how everything is inherently empty. Not in a negative sense, not in a defeatist sense, not in a nihilistic sense. What I mean is, there, like, all there is just this idea of perception being a mirror, and it's reflecting, like, the moment a perception arises. There was like right after my darkness retreat when I was reflecting on how just that, the sense in the darkness of just everything's just arising. There's just a beginningless and an endless arising of sensations, thoughts, sounds, like everything's morphed all into one thing. And cat fur. It's just this. All that is here is that all of that. Even thoughts are here, and this idea of perception is like when a perception arises, it's like a how I'm seeing the world, how I'm feeling the world, how I'm thinking about the world. There's a howness to it. I don't know how to describe that otherwise there's just this without form, without substance. It's just isness. And when I think about like what arises is, oh, a thought about the past. I just created the past from nothing. I applied a something to a nothing. the past, that thought of the past isn't the reality of what happened at one specific point in time. It's what's rising up in me in this moment through however I'm feeling today and whatever I've been thinking about, what's been influencing me, what I ate that's sort of sitting heavy in my stomach, or how light I'm feeling. And I look back and I'm like, oh, that old traumatic thing doesn't seem so bad right now. And then tomorrow I look at it and it does, because it's like continually arising and creating something out of nothing. Oh, he's here. Okay, let's sit. Let's have a sit. I like when he pretends like he's a business cat sitting at the desk with his paws on, like, oh, he heard the dryer. He's at the keyboard. Keyboard cat. And when I think about the future and I get anxious, it's not about some real, tangible thing that's actually going to occur in my experience at a future point in linear time. It's something I'm creating in my mind right now, and it's bringing up uncomfortable sensations in my body right now. I've created this whole experience right now it feels real right now, but in my mind I'm saying that's what it's going to feel like in the future. I don't really attribute it to a feeling right now, but it is. And so what I think about is with this lesson is perception is a mirror. Everything is reflecting exactly what's going on inside me right now. It's the how-ness of how I'm being right now. And that everything truly is empty in the best way. Like I said, as soon as I open my mouth, I'm revealing something about my inner state. And I recognize that when I'm listening to other people. And if they're getting real negative, I just try to have as much compassion as possible, because they must be feeling kind of probably gross somewhere in their thoughts and their bodies. And they're probably feeling constricted. They're probably feeling not great. Because if you're feeling awesome, you're not really complaining and being negative, are you? I'm trying to think. I don't think so. There's got to be something that's feeling a little, or that you don't feel great about. So I love that this says perception is a mirror, not fact. Like, what is fact? The only thing that's fact to me is the isness of this. And every time if I were to go to describe it or explain it, I'm creating something out of nothing. So even that is not fact. I believe that maybe the fact is just that a breath just is happening. It's beautiful, and I love it, because what also this lesson made me think of is how there's this pathless path that we're on, wherever you are in your journey, wherever I am in my journey. And I loved what we talked about the other day about that I got from somebody else's podcast. Being the discoverer of your journey. Meaning you are just moving along and just things are arising for you to discover. You're not really creating anything. You're just moving and things are arising and you're like, oh, and I just discovered that. Everything's like you're applying a thought to something that's just occurring, and you think that's what you created, when it's like, no, every thought, every sensation is almost like this microscopic after effect of what is naturally arising, just so that our beingness can latch onto something and say, oh, and this and that. And it's like, whatever, it's just fascinating that to be the discoverer of our journey is so open and freeing, isn't it? Like, you don't have to know anything. Like, to say I don't know and be okay with that is so liberating. And that's another thing, this whole perception as a mirror is like, don't you get sick of like your same old reflections that are coming out of your mouth? When I said a few times now, I just get sick of my shit. Like you just, any pattern that I repeat and I just get tired of it is like, just break that pattern already. It's just conditioning. I think about conditioning a lot, and it really brings up a lot of empathy and a lot of humility, really. It's like, I have no new thoughts under the sun, right? I just get to, sometimes think, oh, that was original thought. No, not really. I'm just a conditioned amalgamation. And what tickles me about that is just to like have that mirror of myself saying, well, that's funny. That's probably where that came from. Or maybe my uniqueness is how the amalgamation tickles me. And that's my uniqueness, right? And your uniqueness is how your amalgamation of conditioning tickles you. Hopefully it tickles you and not like really gets you down, because there is probably a phase where we get really over our conditioning, and that's our inner work we have to do. And I still have a lot left. I still have a lot left to do. I don't think it's ever going to be done. And I think that's being the discoverer on my journey, discovering my journey, is saying, I don't know what's left to discover, and that's okay. And I will meet it when it arises. I will treat it for the reflection that it is not fact. It is conditioning. It is how I'm reflecting my inner world into my outer world, and how that makes me feel to see it outside of myself. Like, ooh, that was ugly. Let's work on that. Let's see that for what it is and have it, like, let's release it, release its hold. So I think about, the other thing I was going to say is, with this lesson, it made me think about how attachment, like when we're on our journey, whatever that is. Oh, shoot. Did that stop? My screen went off. That was weird. I guess it's still working. Attachment. And that every realization that I have that lights me up in some way, or those aha moments about life and like whatever's happening. You could call it a journey, you could call it a path, you could call it continuing on the path of realizing things of self and what it means to me, and releasing attachment or the hold it has on me. So attachment to me is, the aha moment, and then the mind that goes, that's what that was about. I'm going to place a mile marker here, like I've hit a milestone, and it means this, and hooray. And it's like, oh my God, now I like, as soon as that happens, I'm like, okay, let go, let go, let go. Like, do not stay there. Do not get comfortable in that, because that's yet another form of attachment. That, like, don't get stuck there. Feel all the feels that came along with it, because that's the aha, and that's the release, and that's all the things of healing, if you want to call it that. He is so furry and it's so staticky right now. It just goes. Come on, kitty. Oh, no. I have like a million tarot cards up here, and he's all like gonna splash them all around. Oh God, no, kitty. I'm sorry, hold on. Okay. Sorry. He needed both hands. Oh God, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. Do you have a cat that just like, it's like he's a porcupine, but with a porcupine. Is that a word? Porcupine. That's an animal, right? It's like the porcupine who gets scared and shoots out its quills. Is that, if that's what they do? I don't know if I'm just making that up, but he's a cat and he just shoots off all his fur. He's like, and it goes all over. Sorry. I should just stop talking now because I think you get the point. There's this, if there's, if everything is truly empty of substance, of solidity, like, not, like it's hard to pinpoint because there are different layers to this realization. There's like, of course, everything's changing. You know, you can look at it from a scientific perspective under a microscope. Everything's constantly changing. It's with quantum mechanics. Everything's just a probability or a possibility of solidity, but it's not truly solid until you observe it, that sort of thing. So I think about how it's even hard to open your mouth and have words for describing that. Because as soon as, it's almost like the mere act of like the trying and then a word coming out, so much is happening there that's like turning something solid, like creating something out of nothing that then is like no longer even relevant. It's not even true. It didn't exist. It's not relevant. Yet something is continually happening, and I get tickled by that, right? It's like living life. Like life is meant to be lived. And I feel like right now it's like what tickles me is like self-expression in all its forms. I love when anybody, and I always have, but now it makes sense in this light, like why I like it. Anybody expressing themselves just tickles me. I just want to go like, oh man, just keep doing that. Even when they do it in a way that's like they're expressing opinions. And I feel like whenever an opinion is expressed, even when I do it myself, it comes from a place of fear. Like, boil it all down, right? Boil every preference down, every opinion, everything, and boils way, way, way somewhere down there. There is an underlying fear. Fear is at the base of anytime an opinion needs to be expressed. There's a fear in there, and I hear it. It's like the first thing my ear hears. It's like I don't apply anything to the opinion itself. I don't care whether it's in a positive light or a negative light. Blah, 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 blah. Everything boils down to fear, and I go straight there, and I'm like, let's look at that. I don't think most people are ready for that, so I gauge the interest. Like just in regular conversation, and I might do it in a playful way. Like they've been having a random conversation at the grocery store, and somebody will say something like that's, God forbid it's political, because that's really about fear, but like anything. And so I just sort of like noodle in there in a playful way to like go, and I feel like in some conversations, it's like, there's like something goes tilt, but not in a combative way, or, I would never want to do it in that sort of way, but I can't help it. Something in me now just goes, let's go to the heart, to why you have this opinion and why you feel the need to share it and why you're trying to, and without, I don't think anybody realizes I'm even doing that. I don't even realize I'm doing it half the time, but it's my fascination, and it tickles me to go in there and just try to put people on tilt a little bit, and put myself on tilt. Because a lot of times as soon as something comes out of my mouth, I look back at myself and go, oh, that was interesting. Why'd you use those words? What's going on in there? So there's this. Anyway, that's just a little insight into what goes on with me, and it's kind of fun right now for me. I don't know for everybody who interacts with me, but it's a lot of fun. Let me give you another little insight. Look what I've been doing today, which is probably why I felt the need to take a break and do some self-expression via this video. I went to Goodwill today and bought up, like, because you can get cheap fabric there, right? All I have to do is cut out what I need. Better than going to a fabric store and buying new fabric. Plus, it's got that worn texture. I went up and bought as much corduroy as I could find that was in the browns and reds and greens categories. And they're upstairs washing and drying right now. And then oh God, patterns. I haven't done one in years. It is this. I can't decide yet. I think I'm aiming toward the shorter version versus the longer, because I know myself and I'd be more likely to wear a shorter coat more often, maybe to the knees versus to the ankles. So anyway, I'm going to make that coat out of all these different weird colors and textures of corduroy. They're all different kinds of thicknesses of corduroy and ribbedness, and I'm just so excited to make something weird and patchworky. And so I thought, okay, well, they're washing and drying. I'll cut out the pattern, and then I've been sketching like what color I would put where, like what color will the sleeves be, what color will those front panels be, the back panels, the outer pocket. I just learned what those were called. A welt? Something like that. I'm learning a lot too in the process. So anyway, that's what I'm up to today. It's Saturday, and I was like, I'm gonna basically turn off my brain and just cut patterns. And I felt like talking about it in this lesson because a lot of self-reflective stuff talk about mirror is showing up. So it's like immediately, this is awesome. Immediately when I'm paying attention to what lights me up and what makes me go, oh, effing hell. And so what lights me up is going shopping for fabrics, going to Goodwill, rifling through all the craziness and picking out all this affordable stuff, getting a discount on it too. And I walk out, I didn't bring a bag, so I walk out with like armfuls of corduroy and come home and cut the tags off, throw it in the washing machine. I loved that whole process. Feeling everything. Then I come downstairs and I pull out my pattern. I open it up. I pull out this thick wad of all that tissue paper. And immediately I felt an overwhelm and rise up. And I was like, immediately, oh, well, this doesn't feel like the feelings I had all morning doing the shopping. All morning, it was literally 1 hour from the time I left the house and got back. I looked at the clock. That whole hour of shopping and bringing it home and washing it and feeling it, this is the complete opposite in a lot of ways of that feeling. Why? I opened the pattern and immediately what struck me was like, oh, rigidity, routine, structure, following the rules. All of that flooded my sensations and I felt ill. Isn't that weird? I think it's fascinating. And so then I was like, oh, let's do this. So I would this is me being a somatic experiencing practitioner. So try this at home if you want, but just know it might take practice. Anybody can do it though. So I open the pattern, like the first layer. You got to go real slow with this. I opened it real slow, and during the slowness, I'm noticing what's happening. And I feel it, and then I slowly close the pattern, and I feel it go down. Next time, do another round. It's called titration and pendulation. I open it. I feel a little bit less this time. And then I close it. So I do that a couple times. And then I finally get to the point, I'm just laughing all the while too, even during this icky feeling, because I'm like, I've done it enough where I know like you can do hard things. It lasts a fraction of a moment, so you can do it. But immediately the first time I did it, it felt so overwhelming, like I didn't titrate it, and I just went into a complete hot flash, which is a whole other story about how I think my hot flashes are related to this, like needing to do more inquiry and the somatic work on myself. But anyway, so I finally get to the point of opening up all the layers, and I felt, oh God, here's some more, because it's like so much. It's so much. So many pieces. There's 20 pieces, which doesn't seem like a lot, but when you have to cut like all the fine lines, and it's all like laid out on these giant sheets of tissue paper, and you gotta be real careful with it. It was like, oh God, I'm never gonna get this coat made. That's where my head went, was like wanting to jump to the finished product. But inherently, I know in myself that the finished product isn't what this is all about. I love the mere act of creating, of being in the process of sewing, of touching fabric, of making mistakes and seam ripping it out and starting over. I actually love the experience of all of that. I laugh every time I make a mistake. Oh, look who's here. And yet, in the moment of working with the pattern, the tissue paper, my head was like, finished product, I'm never going to get there. This is overwhelming. Even though my thoughts weren't that well formed, the body was saying that. Then I finally pull out a piece and I start cutting. And I realized, oh, this is actually an enjoyable feeling, the act of cutting along the lines. And I felt an ease in my body. I felt like, oh, the feeling of baby steps makes me happy. The feeling of, oh, this little piece. I get to work on the pockets first when I read through the instructions, which the old me would have not read any instructions. The old me, I'm just the same me. But now I'm to the point where I'm like, I'll read some instructions. I learned stuff along the way. And that's what this whole thing's been about, is like, oh, I've always wanted to learn how to make clothing, make it look polished. And yet, what's always kept me from it is like, I want to just make a mess and get to the finish line, right? Now it's like, oh God, I've got to deal with my rebellion against structure and rule following and time-consuming steps. That's a whole thing too. I'm dealing with time-consuming. This is a whole video journal now. Hopefully you aren't even watching this. This is just me reflecting on my journey. So I don't even know why I'm standing in a doorway between. I think the lights, I need the lights out there, but they're overwhelming right now. I love dark lights. I love darkness. So, but I needed that for the pattern cutting. So the time consuming thing is something I'm exploring too, because even down to today, I'm like, yay, I have a whole day off. And then there's something in the back of my head that's like, make the most of it, make the most of it. Oh my God. And even this morning, it was like 7 a.m. And I'm like, okay, it's only 12 hours till 7 p.m. And I know I'll be tired by then because I got up at 2 and I couldn't get back to sleep. It's so, even though it's not that dramatic, something back there is doing that. And I'm like, effing hell. I know that when I'm in a state of flow with creativity, with doing the baby steps and cutting and doing all the things that when I zoom out and I'm like, it's so much. When I zoom in, I'm like, this is fun. I love it. And yet I still go back and forth with that to feel the and the wee. And so that's what I was working with by making myself go slow with that whole exercise of opening the pattern and feeling the And then when I started cutting, I was like, wee. And so with that somatic practice, it is about slowing down and noticing and letting the nervous system go through those activations and deactivations, because it's just energy that really just wants to leave the body slowly and gently. That's what I always tell people. It's the best way I can explain it. Maybe there's a better way, but that's what the is the I felt too much too fast. Sorry, that bleeped again out. I felt too much too fast and I clamped it back down. So it didn't really leave the system. I just noticed it and said, nope, 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 nope. Oh, my cat. So by working with it, like, okay, I'm going to open it slowly, feel it, and then close it and then come back. It was like gentle pressure valve kind of releases. So I want to keep doing that as I work through that. And the whole timekeeping thing is like, I've always felt uncomfortable with time. I've always been obsessed with time. I just have. Like, you can ask me, even down to name a movie. I'll tell you what year it was made. I also keep track of, in my head, by year, where I was living, what I was doing, what relationship I was in, what school I was going to, what version of life I was living, because I feel like I lived a million versions. But I can track it by, and my mind still keeps track of that. Every time I see a year, I'm like, that's where I was, that's what I was doing, blah, 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 blah. Like, there's some weird timekeeping mechanism in me, and I'm so fascinated now to think about, like, what would it be like to not have that? Are there people who don't do that? Because I want to know what that's like. And just because there's no reason to change something or want something to be different unless it feels problematic. And to me, what felt problematic today was the whole, oh, I've got to make the most of this free time I have. And first of all, calling it free time is problematic, isn't it? It's like, when am I going to really be living my life if I'm classifying this, whatever time is, as free and not free? That seems pretty problematic, right? So these are just little nuggets of things I'm working on, because they're what's showing up right now. Back to that whole, things are just endlessly arising, and back to like being sick of my shit, and like when patterns are begging to be looked at and broken, and those seem to be the ones showing up right now. Timekeeping and wanting to jump to the finish line of something. And that's why even down to these lessons, I'm on lesson 304, and there's some part of me that's like, oh my God, we did 304 of something almost days in a row. That's amazing. And also, it's something to be let go of. So at 365, at the end of this year, I will release it. We'll have a big ceremony, and I'll be like, and I'm not holding on to that either. And back to my video from the other day where I was like, well, what do I want to do something every day next year. That's the old pattern thing happening in me again. It's like, let's keep this going, or else it doesn't mean anything, or else it wasn't valid or valued. And I'm gaining my sense of value through doing, through achieving, through consistency, through whatever I want to call it. When it's like, no, my sense of value is just in existing on this planet, just like yours is and theirs is. It's not like, that's an old generational trauma thing that it's like, okay, yeah, driving sense of value through doing, improving. Well, I feel like with anything we go through, or I'll say I go through, because I'll speak for myself, is to move through it and release it. Like, I have to work through it. It's like, you might versus bypass it. That's what I'm getting at. You could just mentally think about how, well, you don't need to do 365 of anything, so don't bother. Why even start that? It doesn't mean anything. Well, yeah, I inherently know that with my brains, but the act of going through it to experience it day by day and have that felt sense of like, I'm doing it, I'm actually enjoying it. Some days early on I was getting real frustrated by the words, so I know that's something to look at. And then now I'm this far along looking at the finish line and was saying, oh, I want to do 365 more of something else to keep going. And now I'm looking at that saying, that's not necessary, because now I've moved through this thing and can release it. Next year, I'm already thinking about what else to do that may not be a daily thing, but that is more about creativity and not the rigidity or the routine of creativity, but something, whatever lights me up. And so that's to be determined. But so those are the things I'm working on. What are you working on? And I say work is even a dumb word, isn't it? It's like, it applies this like, see, this is where words kind of fail to truly express the felt oomph of what I mean by working on. The things I'm examining, the things I'm exploring, the things I'm shining a light on in order to see them clearly, so then I can then release their hold. But it really is just easier to say the things I'm working on. Words are shortcuts, right? So thanks for hanging in there if you did. I'm sorry if you did, because this was more for me. Like a little like, a lot of times, like I said earlier, I don't truly know because there's so much emptiness in the way of like, nothing needs to be expressed. Nothing truly needs to happen here. And nothing does. Like, I'm totally fine. Like, it's just, nothing needs to happen here. And yet when I express something, it's like it's a happening. It's like a, I don't know what it is. It's nothing as well. What is it? It's almost like a play, like putting on a play for myself, like where I'm the actor and the audience. And I feel like that's what we're all doing here in life. And I also feel like we truly are an amalgamation of conditioning and, what did somebody say? The 5 closest people to us that we spend the most time with. That's just what we reflect is each other. So I think about that too. Like, we're all so, everything is so empty and it's beautiful. We're just happenings. And I get so tickled by it. And maybe that's why I like to create these videos, is just to express that. Otherwise, I'm just sitting here cutting patterns. And then I don't get to be tickled by as much. I just love that word. We just need to tickle each other.